Yeah, we always do one side first.
Yeah. All right, I switched all those around.
Do one side and then Brady does
Brentwood
the others.
Academy has never had a robotics team before. In the fall of 2013, BA physics teacher Wendy Stallings gathered 4 students, plus adding a 5th student later on in the year to form the Iron Eagles robotics team, and thus began a journey that would eventually lead them to Anaheim, California, to compete in the VEX Robotics World Championship. This is their story.
When did it start? When physics day in class?
Yeah, like one of the first physics classes, the song was like, hey, would you guys be interested in doing some robots? And we were like, sure. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Maybe. And she's like, okay, well, you're doing it then.
Can we hold this right here?
There we go.
Because
Well, let's start way before we even started. Last year we had a applied physics class where seniors from last year built robots to compete against other seniors in the same class. So they had 4 robots. And so Ms. Stallings had figured out that there was actually a competition that happened that could lead you to nationals or worlds like we're at.
Introducing the 2013-2014 VEX Robotics competition game, VEX Toss-Up. VEX Toss-Up is played on a 12-foot by 12-foot field by 2 alliances, red and blue, each made up of 2 teams. There are 8 large balls, 4 red and 4 blue, available in the game. These are the largest scoring objects ever used as part of the VEX Robotics competition. There are a total of 20 buckyballs, 10 red and 10 blue available in the game, 4 of which must be used as robot preloads. The object of the game is to attain a higher score than the opposing alliance by scoring colored buckyballs and large balls into the middle zone and goal zone. There are also 2 vertical cylindrical goals on one end of the field. Teams can score points by stashing their colored buckyballs into the goals, or by stashing their large balls on the goals.
My name is Wendy Stallings, and I teach physics, honors physics, and AP physics. Last year I taught a class called Applied Physics. We did an entire semester on computer programming and robotics. We did a classroom competition using the VEX parts. So this year, when I didn't have an applied physics class, I wanted to use the robot parts. So I put the idea out there to my AP physics class that we do the competition. I researched a bunch of robotics options, Lego and VEX being the 2 top choices. So I explored both options and decided to go with VEX because it's a little more sophisticated, both in the programming and in the building of the robotics. It was more appropriate for high school and college level.
Originally, it was something where every Friday we would work on robots, and it's like, okay, it's a break day, and this is a fun project, so let's just do this. And there was no inkling in my mind that I would think that we were actually going to a competition.
Well, at the first competition, before we were really nervous. We were like, I don't know if our robot's going to be good enough. Like, I don't know if we're going to do good at all. And so it was really nerve-wracking, but we got there and we were like, yeah, these teams, they look like they have the potential to do some damage. And then it ended up, it was just like, we just had one of the better robots and we were worried about nothing.
We were more, what do you call
Prepared?
Prepared, yeah, more prepared than the other teams. Most of them were like working on the robots still, like before the competition. We were just chilling there, like waiting.
What happened was we met John Overton at the regionals competition, and we didn't really know what to expect of them either. Their robot looked really similar to ours, but ours had the capability to pick up balls. And what really just got us interested in them was one of their guys came over to me and we started having conversations about D1 and workouts and stuff because he was interested in that too. And all of a sudden we just bonded, and then he brought me over to their table and I talked with them, and then they came over to our table, and all that talking just kind of made us really close. And when they were actually first because we had a really bad first match, they picked us for the alliance. And after that, we just kind of went onward with it.
These alliances would prove to be the make or break point for future success when the team would travel to the World Championships. The Iron Eagles would not solely depend on their own robots' capability, but had to work closely with other teams, devising strategy, determining what each robot's strengths and weaknesses were in order to achieve the maximum amount of points in the game.
Well, I knew VEX as a company was just starting up in Tennessee, or the competition is really huge in states like Texas and even places like Canada. But in Tennessee, I knew they were just getting started. So I had no idea what the competition was going to be like, and neither did the boys. It turned out we realized at regionals we had a really great chance to go pretty far. And then we got to state, and it was a lot of the same teams, but there were several additional teams there as well. We thought, okay, this could happen. And the guys had to do some last minute dremeling of the robot. It turned out it was 1/8 of an inch too big. So they started sawing off parts of screws and different pieces of the robot to get it to fit. We also had to do a couple programming adjustments at the last minute because our programming had stopped working. So it was really scary at the beginning, but once we got into a groove at state, they just did great from there on out.
Right now, we just have a bunch of wires hanging, and it's getting in the way of everything. And so we're just securing the wires down so they don't get in the way of the wheels or anything. And they have to be this way for the competition. So.
All right, so with less than 48 hours, are y'all nervous?
Yes. I mean, I think we're gonna get it done, so I'm not that nervous.
I have to do the coding.
Well, that's why I'm not nervous. It's not my job.
Okay,
We had to build it.
we have a lot to do in very little time. I only have tonight to do all 4 positions because we're packing out tomorrow. I get a little bit of time tomorrow morning, but that's about it.
So the basis of it is that we have to score different points and do different tasks and jobs of lifting up most parts of the balls and stuff. And each part of this serves different purposes and stuff. So down here, we have the chassis for it. We have the wheels, and each one is geared together. So we only have 2 motors, but it can also turn the front one. And then if you move towards the middle, we have what's the air canister, which is hooked up to what are called pneumatics, and they're not plugged up the second, but what they will do is there they are right there. They will plug up and they will shoot these little bars out. Hold it, Ren.
Oh.
They will shoot these out so we can
Which will launch this.
it'll have an extra bar for added height and to be able to actually throw the balls in different scoring zones. And then when you go up to here, this is what's called the Cortex. This has everything that we need on it. It's what programs the robot, steers it, once Jeff here adds all the code to it. To the side of that is the batteries, which power it, pretty self-explanatory. And then we have what's called the 6-arm lift, and the 6-arm lift controls this whole 6-bar lift. Sorry, I call it 6-arm lift. I don't know why. He gets on.
It's the same thing.
It's pretty similar, Ram.
I know.
But we have all of these gear ratios to keep it from.
Gives them more tension and speed.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah. Not tension, torque.
And then as you go up to the top, we have pretty much the main part, which everything is being built on. These will flip down when you turn on the bot and spin them, and these pick up the small balls and the big ones. And they bend out so we can pick up the big ones. And this took us, how long, like 2 weeks to figure out?
Yeah.
And like
They
8
different designs.
Yeah. It combined 2 ideas into one. This will be cut out for the pneumatic bar that will launch right there. And that's pretty much the entire robot altogether.
This is messed up now.
made the intake. Put up a big one on there.
The desk in the way.
Exactly.
Reserving my cab online, and they sent me this text
Oh,
message
yeah.
that they're
I'll
4
get my
miles
backpack.
away, and that was at like 3:50. At 4:20, I called them. I was like, "Where are you guys?"
Well, what's going on right here is I'm writing some postcards, and it's a tradition with some of my friends that whatever I'm doing, I just kind of send some postcards. Yeah, but the tradition is the first one you always send. The first one you always send is the one.
We're in Nashville Airport, and the postcards are San Francisco, and we're going to LA.
But it doesn't matter. They're from
You
San
can't do that,
Francisco.
Nico.
They'll love them.
You can't do that.
So when did this tradition start?
It started last year in August, and I just they wanted some postcards, and I was like, okay, and they really loved them, and so after that, I just kind of always do that.
So why not wait till we're in California?
Because it's so fun that you have to start
And why not send
when you get to the
LA
airport.
ones?
Yes.
LA,
Go
not
buy
San
some
Fran.
Go buy some LA
I'll
ones.
buy some LA ones when we get there,
You're
and then I'll
sending
send those
Nashville
too.
and San Francisco ones. They have nothing to do with LA.
Or Disneyland?
Or
Hey, at least
Disneyland.
he's sending Nashville ones from Nashville.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but that's the first one's always from Nashville. You send the first one from where you're coming from or where you're going.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to see.
Where's that first class seating?
Yeah. I was expecting
I thought the champions get up in the front.
You're not champions yet. We'll see about the way back.
If we win, we get first class.
Who's getting this one? Who's getting these?
Said a little close.
He's worried about his postcards. All my postcards. Dude, like, I need those.
Very nice.
We can move the team in here.
When we first arrived, it was a little overwhelming because the sheer scale of how big it was just unexpected on the amount of teams. So when we were walking up, it said they had banners of 750 teams, which just from ours, they had 4 or 5 guys per team. So just realizing, oh, this is on a much bigger scale. And when we walked in, you just saw, like, we have one field that takes up an entire room. They had 20 fields sitting in the first room.
The TSA inspected our robot to make sure it was safe.
Because, you know, the robot looks a lot like a bomb.
After arriving at their pit station, the team began to unpack the robot and tools. While getting set up to make some adjustments, the team discovered that their air compressor, which was vital to their pneumatic system, was not working.
We've got a team from Las Vegas over there. They're willing to let us borrow their air compressor. They've got 2 of them, so
We're gonna try and figure out this pneumatics situation. We don't really know what's wrong with it, but we're gonna try and fix it.
Explain that a little bit.
Well,
What's the problem?
the problem is the tank somewhere is losing air pressure. when it shouldn't. It should be sealed tight, and only when we press the button it should lose air, but it's just losing a little bit constantly, so we think there's a leak somewhere, so we're going to try and fix that.
The team would ultimately decide to do away with the pneumatic system altogether in order to decrease the weight from the robot, giving the robot better speed and agility.
This Asian teams, they can literally do everything. They can hang with the big ball, they can launch the big ball across, they can do everything.
They move like 5 times as fast as us. A team from China who moves like 5 times as fast as us, can hang, and so we're getting some ideas from them, seeing if we can make last-minute modifications so that we can actually do well in our first match.
We kind of laughed at first because on the frequently asked questions sheet that we read over, it said, be prepared to communicate with people who don't speak your language. And so we laughed about it and didn't really think about it. And then we got there and there were a lot of people who didn't know how to speak English. So we specifically had to communicate with a Spanish team and a Chinese team who didn't speak any English. So luckily one of our students spoke Spanish, had taken many years of Spanish, and spoke well enough to figure out the dynamics. Because there's a lot of dynamics you have to figure out with your partner, who's going to start where, what your defensive strategy is going to be, what your offensive strategy is going to be. So one of our students was able to communicate that in Spanish, but when it came to the Chinese team, we just had no idea how to communicate with them. So we pulled out Google Translate and ended up communicating via Google Translate. So hopefully we didn't, offend anyone or something didn't translate, mean or inappropriate, but we got the point across and we're able to work together.
So many other teams come here and so many people take it seriously and so many countries take it seriously. We have people here from, talked with the team in Spanish from Mexico, we have people from France, we have people from Germany, we have people from Britain. I think I saw a team from Russia, and just knowing that they're all here and we get to be a part of that, that's incredible.
Well, we're about to get the robot inspected, and we're kind of nervous about it because we've heard some rumors that it's pretty strict on stuff. It can't touch at all on the size, which is 18 by 18 by 18 inches.
Nashville.
That's your music?
Yes. Music City.
What division are you guys in?
Science.
It's a pretty nice room, comfy bed. The air conditioning's
terrible.
Okay. I mean, as you can tell, it's set on 60, the lowest it can go with a constant fan, and on high. And it's still not.
It feels good right here.
Yeah, it feels good like
here,
but not.
Then you go back there and it's terrible.
It's like an actual room.
Those are the fakest looking eggs.
That's why I'm not getting them.
And my plate has a hole in it.
Step on the pedal. Do not block traffic. Do not block traffic. Do not block traffic. Do not block the intersections.
What?
Each match is with 2 alliances, so it's in teams of 2, and each match contains 4 robots. So you basically work together with another robot, and what's really smart is that you want to go talk to the teams beforehand so that you can actually know what they're gonna do on the field, so that you're not running into one another because you're trying to do the same job. So the 3 girls that you saw in the video, they're wanting to pick up some big balls and throw them over to one side of the field, whereas they want us to start shuttling them other balls so that they can start working with them.
So each division kind of works like a tournament in any sport. We're split up into 5 divisions, and each one you have to go through and win it. We're not exactly sure exactly how each one is set out, but once you win that division, you go and play a round robin tournament, and that decides who goes into the final match, and then those people play for the World Championship.
Who's going to go next? Who's going to get those next points? Red Arm is starting to D-score. Hold the line to D-score. You know what?
Here we go, first match.
They put one blue ball, one ball into the middle zone. They pick up the second ball, they go over to the corner zone. Not quite with the middle zone, they put one regardless. Meanwhile, Red are about 675. D has to go one ball, he tries to wait for the Red Alliance. 93-64 has two runs ball. Now you see the D score from our blue flag down to 22. As we see a ball go over and get overpass. And tag on 5 more points to 323 extras, and the blue will like to score. You've got 9 seconds left now. Another last second score. 323 at tower. Puts the right ball back into the scoring zone. 2 seconds left. 1 second. And now in that match, lots of defense being played and he's scoring.
You know, our autonomous was a little off. I mean, it's fine. Like, we still won. Luckily, their other robot was a no-show. That helped. One of our intakes got hung, so it bent. So at the end, Rand was having some trouble picking just anything up because it was bent in. So we just tried to do as much as we could with what we could do.
Is it fixable?
Oh yeah, we already fixed it. We just had to bend the piece back out. It's fixed already. So we'll be good. We just gotta fix the little autonomous, maybe improve the intake some more, and we'll be good.
Over the next several days of competition, the Iron Eagles would continue to improve the functions and mechanics of their robot. The first several qualifying matches would prove successful, but trouble would be soon to come.
Yeah, the kids are have very distinct personalities, and they're very awesome to work with. So Brady Williams, he is kind of the glue that holds the other kids together. He's laid back, he's hardworking, and he's focused, but he just has a very welcoming presence among the boys. Jeffrey is very intense, very focused, very high energy. So sometimes we had to calm Jeffrey down because he would get so excited about this, that, or the other. But at the same time, he could code 150 lines of code in 5 minutes. Like, he was that on top of things. Nico was the strategist. Everyone always says, what does Nico do on the team? So I don't think they understand how vital Nico's role on the team was, because there's so much strategy involved, there's so much pairing involved. Nico really looked at the match list, and then he would figure out who we were paired with. He would go strategize with the groups. He was responsible for translating into different languages and really connecting to make those final connections for the final rounds. Ryan, he is the kind of guy that surprises you with how awesome he is. He was the one who just took a bunch of parts home over Thanksgiving and came back with a robot, and that's where we really took off and got started. So he's extremely gifted with his hands, and he never brags about himself, which is pretty impressive. I was so glad when Bryant joined the team. He had been watching us all semester, and he didn't know that he could just hop on, because we didn't really know we were a team until things took off. So I'm so glad he joined us, because he'll be there next year as a leader, and he's also really gifted hands-on. He brought some great ideas, some new things we tried because of him. So he was a great asset as far as the engineering and design was concerned.
Our strategy was the same. We always wanted to stash as many balls as we could, put them in the goals, get the big balls across into the middle zones and the end zones. But what really happened was our autonomous was always the same. It was the same strategy from the first few matches where we won to the last few matches where unfortunately we didn't. And a lot of it was our alliance partners. We were partnered with the current first place. We were partnered with the current second place. But we got lucky. And unfortunately, in the other matches, we weren't so lucky. So really, our strategy didn't change. It was just who we were with.
Back at Brentwood Academy, students would rush out of classrooms at competition time to watch their Iron Eagles compete on the world stage via a live broadcast. The school had officially gone robot crazy.
It was so great for these kids, and my heart was so thankful that they would be recognized in such a way. They didn't want a pep rally. They didn't want to stand up in front of the school, but to know that the school was watching them was so powerful. I'm even tearing up now because they were showing me pictures that people sent or texts that people sent of of how many people were standing around watching, and it motivated them to do better, and it just reminded them that we're a community and we're a family here at BA, and we support each other's triumphs and we cheer for each other. And these are not guys who've been cheered for in many venues. So for them to feel that was a new experience for them, and I think it gave them a memory of BA that they'll never forget.
Brent, he scores. Blue answers quickly. Here's one. Uh-oh, let's beat the 4, 3, 2, 1. Lots of robots up, lots of blue balls off the ground. They missed the high score by 1 point. And the high score is still lazy, 77.
You know, those were just 2 better bots than us. I mean, had better autonomous, they could do better things, but I mean, we held our ground and just tried to do our best. That's the best we can do.
I would say that some things that may not seem so, cool in the beginning, awesome people are involved and great things are happening. And I remember, so many teachers tell you this, like, the Lord works in mysterious ways, destiny works mysteriously, and I never thought I would be here. And so the moral is just give it a shot. Leave doors open.
I think this prepared me for what I want to do in life, because I want to go out into the tech field. I want to do software engineering, do what I love. But what it's made me realize is that I can't just go into work, program for a couple hours a day, and just be finished. I have to put in a lot of hours. I have to put in a lot of effort, time, blood, sweat, tears to get a finished product. And I also have to work with my coworkers or my fellow students at Purdue in order to get what we want accomplished. It's a lot of teamwork, and it's really hard, and it's a lot of effort.
It's this whole competition's given me confidence that I do want to be a mechanical engineer, because I've enjoyed all this and the building of the robot and everything, and it's been a lot of fun. So
at times it was really frustrating building the robot, and it's obvious, like, the little things you do will change the robot in ways you wouldn't think. So I mean, it does give me confidence as well that I want to be an engineer, but it does, just having to have the patience is another thing, because you just have to have the time and patience to work on the robot, because as I said before, like, a little thing will change things you didn't even think of before, so you gotta work with that. But in the end, it's like rewarding when you see the robot out there doing what you want it to do, and then you just get that like big old smile on your face. It's just a good thing.
Well, this was such a great learning experience for the kids, and for me as a coach. To be able to see it on the world level, to see what other teams are doing, to see the intensity and the focus and the thoughtfulness. Some of them have already started. It's 2 weeks out of competition, and some of them are actually preparing to compete in June. So our competitions will start up for BA in September. So we're going to get started earlier. We're going to incorporate more students. We're going to do more practice rounds, more practice competitions. I learned a lot as far as facilitating coaching, teaching the kids to aim to their strength, to work as a team, to not feel like they have to do everything or be proficient at everything, but to really trust their teammates to do a good job at what they're gifted at, and just to think outside the box, to design crazy things and try new ideas.
Thank you.